Howdy, everybody. Had a little problem with my OBS. The crashed on me, so I had to reset everything for a second. But we're good to go. I'm just gonna tune up a little bit. These guitars are pretty good. They hold their tune pretty well. Close enough for rock and roll, as they say. The oh yeah, I've had these Gretsch guitars. They'll come right out of the box, just in tune, or relatively in tune with themselves, you know. And yeah, that's why I always recommend the Gretches. Playable the same day you get them. You don't have to go through this big setup. Of course, you can always tweak things and fine tune it, but um, I've always been a big fan of it, especially since Fender took over distribution. It's been great. So, welcome to another Saturday live stream here on the TeleDynes YouTube channel. We got some channel updates. I have a new video. I was almost done with it uh, before the stream. I just have to have the videos rendered, bounced out, whatever you want to call it, and I just have to make the little thumbnail, and it's up. And I'm just doing a quick comparison between the different delays, the RE20, the Roland Space Echo, the Roland Space Echo, the RE20 pedal, and the 301 tape delay, and the Mystery Brain. And I was surprised at how different they actually sound to each other. The you could, as you could imagine, the RE20 probably has is the most similar to the 301 tape echo, as the circuitry is the same, but the digital pedals just are a little bit more, at least in my opinion, are a little bit more harsh than the old tape delays, just warmer. And um, hey, Richard. Yep, doing pretty good today. Um, like I said, I got that video coming out here. I'll probably, as soon as the stream is done, I'll finish that up, and I'll probably drop it later today. Yeah, the digital delays, especially the Mystery Brain. And I know a lot of that's in the preamp knob on the top, but it can be a little harsh where the tape delay is just nice and warm. You really get that. I can see why there's such a, you know, you would call it a following, I guess, of just people who like tape delays, right? You know, there's such a, compared to why they're so coveted, I guess. I've never had an Echoplex, but this thing has been great. It is finicky. You have to kind of mess with the knobs, and though the wheel's not turning, you gotta kind of start the wheel manually going, and then it'll start rolling the tape. But or the tape will still go, but it's not. It drags a little bit. But yeah, it cuts off those really high, piercing highs, and the lows are pleasant. It feeds back nice. It's yeah, at least to me. But yeah, take a listen when the video comes out. It's a short video. It's like 5 minutes or whatever, and I just go real quick from one little riff to another just to give you an idea of what the different delays sound like. Yeah, the Mystery Brain. How you doing? Glad to see you guys back. Yeah, the Mystery Brain, the RE20, and the 301 Space Echo. So I went back and forth. So I started with the RE20 pedal. Now I don't have an Echoplex, unfortunately. Um, this is just the RE301 Chorus Echo. But I just went RE20 pedal. Yeah, I still don't have it up here. And then the Mystery Brain, and then end it with the 301. It does give breakup. It gives saturation, but if you crank it too much, it's very sensitive too. So every control on that is very sensitive. On the Mystery Brain is very sensitive. Um, but it gives you more breakup, but it saturates too a little bit more, and sometimes it can be a little bit harsh uh, compared to the tape echo. Uh, for the RE20, the input volume on that in comparison to like the Space Echo, there is no real input volume on the Mystery Brain, or output volume, where the 301 has an input and an output. The RE20 Roland Space Echo just has an input volume, but if you turn it up too much, it's way too it it almost sounds like digital clipping, if that makes if you know what I mean by that. So it's just going into, it sounds like it's going into the red, you know. Where the 301 is great. I'm not getting any real distortion or too much saturation. It's just nice and warm, and I can play it. I can play the amp loud without the attenuator. It feeds back nicely when you want it to. You can control it. If you want to get some of that, you know, just a little bit of feedback and the touch sensitivity. And you don't have to worry about it being too piercing. It's just, you don't have to turn down the treble or anything like that. I've noticed with the Mystery Brain, it's better to, on the basement at least, better to turn the treble down just a little bit and keep the presence up. I don't use any distortion. I do have just a PS9 tube screamer. I've had a Blues Driver before, but man, I never really. If I want distortion, I just crank the amp. Really, I just turn it to 8 or 11. Just natural amp distortion. The problem with hollow bodies and distortion, they don't really like each other too much. I mean, you can get away with it if you keep the amp down. I never, if you keep the amp down, I guess you can kind of get away with it, but it can be a little trouble. Yeah, 11. Yeah, the Mystery Brain, I like it a lot. I mean, if you get the preamp knob set right, you can get that nice delay sound. But and I've always liked it because it adds a little bit more of it almost sounds like it's like compression, a little bit more sustain. I get more sustain out of that than I do with the RE20. But of course, the Space Echo, the tape, that's the best one. Maybe just because it's new for me, I don't know, but I do notice that just more pleasant, rounded sound in comparison to just all digital pedals in general. Orange Tremolord. I don't know if I'm familiar with that one, but oh, the amps. I thought you meant a pedal. Yeah, those are good. Those are good. They used to. That was when did they came out? When they came out, but that was one of the main amps they were pushing when I worked at Rudy's in New York. They had just opened an amp shop there, and they were pushing these Tremolords, or the Orange brand in general. That's nice. The Spring Verb. I still would love to get one of those Fender spring reverb tanks. They're almost as expensive as the amplifier. So, kind of having some fun here today. The one of the channel updates. The channel is really close to the next level, so we've probably another couple days, and once it gets there, I'll probably do just an impromptu live stream just to say thank you to everybody. Which again, thank you guys. For subscribing, liking the videos, watching them, sharing them around, and all the comments and everything. Yeah, they're sorry. Yeah, to answer your question, yeah, they are good. I like them. I've never played them live. I've only played them in the store, but they are definitely easier to get than an old Ampeg. Yeah, for sure, and cheaper than the Fenders. Yeah. Yeah, 112. I mean, that's really kind of all you need for most gigs. So that's what I would go. Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe. That's right. um, so I'll mention it a couple times during the stream just so I don't forget. The next week I will be doing the stream a little bit earlier by about an hour because I have a gig that I have to be at around 5. So, and I have to leave by 4 o'clock. So it's gonna be a short one, but I'm just gonna start it a little bit earlier. So I got a couple of those coming up throughout the summer that fall on a Saturday, and I'll have to change the time back just a little bit, or possibly move it to Sunday. But I'd rather keep it on Saturday at least, and not change the days too much. Um, let's see what else happened. I had mentioned we'll talk about some fun rhythm guitar tricks. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Oh, that's great. Oh, it has got one of those changing watt things. Another amp that's pretty good. I don't know if you've tried it. Is the uh, the California Tweed, the Mesa Boogie. I like that one. I played that one live um, at a big. It was a big outdoor show. Of course, they mic'd it and everything, so it doesn't really matter what you play if they mic it. Um, yeah, that one worked pretty well. One of the things that I will say about new amps versus older ones. Yeah, I'll definitely gonna put up a notice. You think posting it, that like just do a community post that'll get there. That's probably the way to do it, right? I'll put up a post. I'll get a couple of posts up so I can do something every day, and I'll add a little musician's joke in there for each one. Yeah, the Mesa Boogie California Tweet is pretty good. I enjoyed it. But the one thing about new amplifiers versus old ones with the circuit boards, um, is when you play. This has been my experience. I don't hear it so much with. I don't hear it as much with Fender, but I most of my live playing experience has been with vintage amplifiers. Not. There you go. Oh, some of the yeah silly jokes like how do you know a drummer's at your door, that kind of thing. Um, the the knocks keep getting faster, right? That's the answer to that one. The yeah, the modern amplifiers have circuit boards in them, and one thing I've noticed is that when you're playing them and you really start digging in, it feels like there's a brick wall limiter, kind of, just not it's not coming through. It's almost like when you play through a solid state amplifier. Where with the old vintage ones, it's all point to point wiring, and it's just you dig in, it just breaks up a little bit more, but it still gets louder. It pushes and saturates and distorts. It's not an unpleasant sound. Where the modern ones sound digital, I guess, for lack of a better term. At least that's been my experience with it. Um, compared to the vintage amps. It's like playing through an amp modeler or something like that. It's like, sure, you're easy and you can change whatever you want and have any sound you want, but it's like an amp mod in your DAW in like Pro Tools or something. It is the sound of the amplifier recorded. It's not the sound of the amplifier live to your ears, which is very different. And that, the audience, generally speaking, isn't going to know the difference, but I know the difference, and you play differently. When you have a different sound behind you and you have a more subdued sound, you're going to play differently than if your amplifier is cranked and loud. And it can be, if you're used to playing quiet, which I have played so many gigs where you have to just turn it down, and you have to learn to play quiet if you want to play. And then when you do have a gig where you play loud, it's like, whoa, you barely touch the guitar and it just sings. But as the gig goes on, you get used to it and start digging in and have some fun. All tubes are nice, nice. Well, I'll yeah. I don't think I've ever plugged a Gretsch into the orange one. I think I just played like a Tele or something. Anyway. So, I was going to say a couple of rhythm techniques. I went over a little bit in one of the videos before about rhythms kind of things, but one thing I notice with a lot of players when they're playing rhythm guitar, or I've seen it at least live and anyway, is you can get carried away with just not palm muting and dynamics and relying on things like boosting pedals and that sort of thing. I don't have any kind of booster or anything like that, so one of the techniques is to learn dynamics and control with your palm, how you can play loud and then just play lighter with your pick. Kind of you can release the strings just a little bit here on the fretting hand. And you just kind of play with those dynamics, and then also palm muting. Especially if someone's singing or you're singing, you don't want to be, over the whole. And I mean, unless you're playing punk rock or something. But for a lot of this stuff, you want to, if you play rhythm down like this, get your amp up to where it needs to be for soloing. And if you have to play chords that are more than just implied, like basic triads and things like that, you can, takes a little bit of getting used to, but you can tuck the pick up and then use your thumb. Right? As far as reliability for old amplifiers, I mean, yeah, it depends on the age, obviously. It depends on the condition. If you take it to an amp guy, then and they can redo everything, and they can change all the pots and change all the the caps and get all of the transistors and capacitors and redo everything. I had that done to my Bassmans, and they're built like tanks. Even before I had it done, I was just a little static that I would kind of clean up a little bit. But that, it's solder. It does break down over time, so you have to have that redone. So, but once you have that redone, I mean, they're fairly reliable. I don't really have too many issues with it. The other one is, I do believe, Victoria amplifiers. They're not too bad price wise, and they sound pretty good. They're closer to an old Fender um, amplifier. They just look like an old Bassman, like an old Tweed. The Victorias, or oh, there's some right here. I'm just looking at them right now. Oh, the Ampeg Gemini, yeah. Yeah, so the channel, like I said, is really close to the next level. Full monetization probably within the next day or so. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan. And start cranking out some more videos. I don't really have any lesson videos planned at the moment. It's just mostly um, some tips and tricks and advice for when you're starting out playing guitar, playing gigs for the first time, and that sort of thing. Um, and of course, still got to do the history of the Bassman video. I really want that video to look nice and have the information be accurate as much as possible. So I'm taking my time to make sure I do my research. Exactly, pizza party. Yeah, I figured I'd do a little impromptu stream when I get there. There's no way to really know. I don't find out until all the watch time hours is delayed by about 5 to 6 days. So I can kind of sort of predict when it's going to happen, but not 100% because I'm past that 365-day mark. So watch hours are starting to drop off a little bit, but it's so close. I want to say it's real close. So thank you. Yeah, another rhythm technique too is playing swing versus straight. So if you're playing something like this, straight eights, pop, 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 or swing, dot, 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 right? When you're playing straight, it's best if you can to play all downstrokes, right? Depending on the tempo, obviously. And if you're swinging, it's better to go down, up, down, up, down, up. And you're almost raking the pick like that. And it's just over the bottom two strings here, maybe a little bit on the top on the fourth string that's muted. So then when you pick it up to speed, that little rake in there kind of helps the delay kind of chug along behind you. And it's better to go down, up, as opposed to trying to swing with all downstrokes. Like, that can get tiring real fast. And you can play down, up with straight too, so. Very similar, but I just think there's a little bit more punch when you're using all downstrokes for the straight rock stuff. But I'll change it up depending on the feel of the song, where the song's going. Again, when you're playing live, always pay attention, listen to the drummer, listen to the bass player, don't get too stuck in your own world. It's easy to do, but You want to be familiar enough with the music and your instrument, of course, so you're not just focusing on what you're doing. Sometimes it's hard depending on the environment. If you can't hear well, if you're on a stage where it's not mic'd well, or stage volume isn't great, then you might have to, just rely on your memory. Greetings. Hope you're doing well over there in Ukraine. Staying safe, I hope. Rhythm, yeah, other rhythm techniques like that's for just doing the rock and roll thing, and you can do that same kind of rake with full chords as well. Depending on how much you want the chord to come through, you just kind of release your palm a little bit to where it's just fully ringing out. And of course, you can pulse it. That's all with the fretting hand, right? And same thing when you're playing walking bass lines. You can still go down, up like that. That's really up to you on those sorts of things. But with the swinging stuff, I've noticed sometimes if you're not familiar with it, a lot of music post Rockabilly doesn't swing. So a lot of players that, especially if you've grown up learning from the Beatles or Hendrix or any of that stuff, Zeppelin, some of their stuff swings for sure, but most of it doesn't. And so a lot of people get used to playing rock music and everything's straight. So they're not used to playing the swing. And so it takes a little bit getting used to that. And it's just a matter of playing it over and over and listening to it, listening, and just kind of really getting that up and down, up and down, up and down with the down, up with the pick, where you can play it slow. And then eventually you build it up. Interesting thing about swing too is that the faster you go, the more things start to straighten out. So if you're playing a song super fast, it's basically just straight eighths again. Then you have your 2-beat stuff. That's all straight eighths for the most. There are, it's all pretty much straight eighth stuff. It's just played really fast. A lot of triplets, eighth notes, 16th notes, that sort of thing. But I would just, if you're unfamiliar with the swing thing, or you struggle with it a little bit, I know I did when I first started, just take a song I've mentioned this before, but take a song that's normally straight and try to swing it. And then reverse it. Take a song that's swing and straighten it. And then you'll kind of really get used to it. Or just take a metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4, and add the eighth notes to it. Dut, 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 and then dut. Back, dut, 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 dut. Yeah. Well, thank you for the compliment, and yeah, Godspeed. Good luck over there. Yeah, I mean, I prefer the swing sound too, um, just for playing too, just for soloing, improvisational stuff. I find myself with straight rock kind of just. I mean, it's still fun, um, but with swing you can not you don't have to just stick with major, minor, pentatonic stuff. You can throw in little diminished scales. Um, yeah, that's the that's kind of the trick with some of the swing stuff. What they call a drummer I played with, yeah, called them the Stanley Stiff Chickens that can't get the swing. Um, yeah, another thing for rhythm is, of course, and I talk about it briefly in the in the um, in the rhythm video. I think it's in that video. Uh, Comping, where you can take your chords and you can either pick the whole notes or go thumb fingers, right? And it helps particularly when you have some of these jazz chords when the bass note is way down here and you're kind of a string in the middle there. You can play it with a pick too, but then you can just kind of pick it. It's almost like a piano, yeah, right? So. Adds a different sound. Same thing over and over again, just changing your rhythm technique, and it sounds like you're building something up, right? Um, and of course, switching back and forth between all of those different styles, the finger picking, pick. If you're say you're playing a 12-bar blues or something, right? You could you go back to a rhythm. You could do this or whatever for a little while, and then that, and then switch to that. Yeah, mix it up. Yeah, I learned a lot of that from Setzer. Absolutely, and it's nice. It just keeps it more interesting for you, for the band, for the audience, and everything else. And sometimes it doesn't always work. The finger picking stuff is kind of weird on straight rock stuff. It can work a bit. You end up following that Travis style picking thing. It just depends on what you're doing. All right. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna got another couple other videos planned for we had talked about it last week, breaking down just different solo ideas. What's gonna work? That's always a go-to of mine. If the idea of the videos, make a little series of videos that are your average key, like A, D, G, C, E. sometimes F. A lot of blues bands end up playing in B for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I think some of it might be because a lot of blues players tend to tune their guitar down a half step, and so the recording. I don't know. That's a guess. They recording. They're back and they're playing open C, and it helps to play some of these, pentatonic scales and things like that. And of course, it's in B. Could be the horns if they're horns, but I wasn't even thinking about horns because this is these I was talking about just bands in general. Could be harp. Could be a harp reason. If you have an E, if you're in B, then you'd have an E harp. That could be. Uh, yeah, if horns. I mean, B is not a great key for saxes or trumpets. That would put that would put trumpets and tenors in C sharp or D flat, and the alto and bari in A flat or G sharp. So they won't be happy. My favorite Setzer song? I no, yeah, geez, I don't know. There's so many. I have to think about it for a second, but probably. I mean, probably this cat's on a hot tin roof. E flat, um, A flat, or G sharp, whatever. If you're in B, you're in the key of B, and you have an alto and a bari is sixth. Trumpets are a second, and tenors are a ninth. Same thing. It's just ninth and the second is the same. It's just the ninth is an octave higher, written wise, when you write it. But and then the harmonica is a four, a fourth. Oh, the Rat Pack Boogie. That's a hard song to play. That's really hard. It's the way you have to pick it. I've never really learned it all. Like, probably gonna mess this up, but something like that. It's been a long time. Is it next? Something like that. And he goes up here. Yeah, I've never really messed around with it too much, but that's yeah, that won him a Grammy, I think, or nominated. I think it. I don't know if it won. I think it got nominated for one though, at least anyway. And I can see why. I mean, from a guitar playing perspective, it's very weird. It's a very specific picking pattern that you have to start on an upstroke to really get it right. All the guitar playing, I know everything he does is pretty good. I've always listened to all of it just to try to see if I can glean something else. I've listened to so much of it now. I haven't really heard him do anything new as far as playing wise that I haven't heard before in some capacity. But he's always changing it up. So that's the one thing I've always liked about Brian Setzer is that when you see him live, he doesn't repeat himself very often. It's very very rare uh, in a live show, and even on an album. Sure, over the course of multiple albums. I mean, there's only so much you can do, but usually within one album, I never hear a duplicate riff. That he's using that same riff again somewhere else. It's always different. And his timing is very, very good. Danny Gatton, too. I mean, those two guys, precise and excellent timing. Oh, Cliff Gallup is great. Actually, I'm going to do a video. That's one of. That reminds me, I have the next video I'm going to do. Not the next one, but coming up soon, will be some Cliff Gallup stuff. So it'll be just all the solo stuff. A lot of the Gene Vincent song, like structure-wise, there really isn't much to talk about. I mean, if you know 12-bar blues, you pretty much can play all of the Gene Vincent stuff, but it's the Cliff Gallup solos that make them special. I would recommend, out of all the 50s guys, listen to Cliff Gallup stuff. I mean, that stuff is great. That's always fun. What is it? That's obviously not the original, but the... Yeah, kind of go over, break down, like, I have to learn it, but the exact note for Bebop-A-Lula, Race with the Devil, and the Cruisin', the one I was just doing. With his brother live, Gary Setzer. Yeah, I don't know if I know. Is that you talking about like back in the Bloodless Pharaohs days, or is this more recent? Because I remember hearing like they didn't get along very well. um, yeah, I'd have to see what. Oh, Blue Jean Bop, of course, all that stuff, like all the classic soloing from that, and maybe some. I mean, it's probably been. I don't know. It's kind of old. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, this would have been back in the late '70s, so maybe early '80s. But I can't. Yeah, except Bill Haley stuff too. There's another. That's another. Some other good things like the what is it? Rockabilly and Boogie. I forget what key that's in originally. D maybe. Right. And then of course the Rock Around the Clock. I play it all the time. I play it usually. I never played that song, but I always throw it into another tune. The updates for the album. Let's see. Well, I'm still. I got the next mix almost done for the next tune. So that one's called That one is called Sinner Man, and that one's going to be a different kind of. That's going to be a different kind of feel thing. Still, kind of given that rockabilly sound to it, but very drum rhythm heavy. And it's got this riff. I like. Bluesy. The original guitar. Yeah, I don't really the original guitar player Danny before Franny. um yeah, I'm not too familiar with who played what on where on when kind of stuff. So which is fun for me to do these videos because then I research it a little bit and find out who does it, and very interesting to learn it. And starting this channel, it's been fun to to go through all of this stuff and learn a little bit more about the history of rock and roll and who played and who was with who back then. I was trying to find one of the things was the Johnny Burnett trio, the rock and roll trio, but who played drums, right? Because it's not listed on the album, I don't believe. So it's Johnny Burnett trio, but there were 4 people on that album. And I did find it somewhere. I forget his name, but he was like a session guy. Yeah, that's always fun to throw in. Throw in little solos, toast on different things. Oh, okay, so it's the early stuff. So is he the same guy that did like rock? Oh, what's the other one? Shake, Rattle, and Roll, or 13 Women, and all that stuff. I like the way that one, the 13 Women, is structured because it starts off without the bass isn't slapping, and then you get to the solo, and then the bass kicks in, and it really picks up, and the rhythm goes straight, 4 on the floor, for that. Cool sound. Yeah, I haven't done. There's so many songs out there. I haven't done a Bill Haley tune yet. I haven't done a Gene Vincent one yet. I haven't done any, Johnny Cash or anything like that. But yeah, if anybody has, whenever people request a tune, I try to get to that one and have it on my list and see what I can get to. What's easiest? If I kind of know the tune, I've been going with those first. That way I don't have to spend so much time learning it, writing out the tab, doing all the stuff for the videos as well. And then it just delays the video so much down the road. I would like to be able to post more. So, let's see. I was trying to find my old my list. There we go. And we did that one. Yeah, I did them all. Okay. So, yeah, probably start with the Cliff Gallup stuff. Oh, Rockin' by Myself. Yeah. I have heard that. Not in a while. But see what else we got. Another fun solo. I can just. This one took me a while to learn, just because it was so different for me at the time. Was playing some like jazz solos. This is another. You asked me like what my favorite Setzer song was Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, but another one I forgot was Beautiful Blues from Choo Choo Hotfish. And it just has all these nice chords in there. And it has that crazy. Yeah, that took a little while, but it's so I was a little faster than it normally should be played. But yeah, that's a fun one to play. For that one, I actually turned the delay off. I just maybe have reverb. I haven't tried it yet with the space echo, or the chorus echo, but the spring verb is strange. Sometimes it works on things, sometimes it doesn't. It sounds better with the surf stuff, but when it comes to the blues stuff and jazzier stuff, that doesn't work. At least to me, it doesn't sound that great. I don't know. It's the springiness of it, for lack of a better term. I don't know. It just has a weird sound, too washy. And then if you turn it down, it's almost like it's not even there. If you just want to do kind of like short blues bends, like just little things like that, and just have the notes kind of ring out. There's just a standard Boss reverb pedal. I mean, works great. I would love to try like the Nocturne ones, but I haven't. I don't have any other Nocturne pedals, so they make a nice tremolo, I guess, but haven't tried to play that one yet. Yeah, so the get off track here, but yeah, the next song for the album, Centerman, that hopefully I'll have that one. That's my next project after this video, is getting that tune up. And that'll be, I just have one solo section to add. I want to put a slide guitar solo in there, and then that one's pretty much done. Then after that will be Cattle Kate, which I know Richard, I know you guys have heard that, and I keep wanting to say your name. If it's is it pronounced Gizmodus? Is that good enough? I'll have those two. Those will be next. Then I have an instrumental, like a surf rock kind of slow surf. And then Tico Tico, which is a cover, but it's the old you know. It's been a while. Thank you. Yeah, that one's got a little bit more. I'm gonna put a little bit more onto the Cattle Kate track. That one's gonna have some more of. I'm gonna put a little fiddle on there somewhere, just some sounds, a little couple of riffs, and I got an acoustic. Well, the acoustic part's done. It's just some of the lead guitar stuff. Even the track that you heard, that was just the demo version. As I have this, the main riff, which is how I play it live on guitar, right? So when I did the recording, I just kind of did these octaves, so I recorded it over again. And I think I went up higher too. And just had those 3 different octaves playing together. And we'll for each of those sections. And I don't know if I want to add too much more to it, but I like to build it up and add everything, whatever I want to add, see how it sounds, and then if it's too much, then just start cutting back a bit, sculpt it, build it all up, put everything in there, and then take away. Thank you. So obviously the vocal that I'll have on the new one's going to be a newer vocal, so I don't know. Hopefully that'll work as well. I don't know if I changed my approach to it or not, because I can always redo it, but you start, when I did the demo, it's just brand new, wrote the song, and then you play it live for a while, and you start thinking about different things that you can add, and things change. It evolves and changes a little bit, so it's pretty much the same. I think the tempo's a little bit faster for the recording, for the final recording, but overall it's basically the same thing. And the drums are a little, obviously they're real. The ones in the demo are all computer. And then just got to finish writing a couple. I have that slow 12/8. We have to get back in the studio. So that's going to happen. I don't know exactly when, but probably within the next couple of months. Get all the songs finished up. We're about halfway through. There's 2 songs that we recorded that have to be re-recorded. Or maybe it was just one. I don't know. I think it was just one. But it was just a little too fast. And when I went to go and try to sing on it, or try to play everything, and it just wasn't working. It was everything felt too rushed. So we just got to go back and redo the tempo on that. Otherwise, it's coming along. Once we get in the studio, and finish up the remaining 7 tracks or 8 tracks or whatever we have, we're usually pretty good. Like I said, I make the demos, give them to the guys. They learn the tunes, and then we get together for a rehearsal, usually just one. Run through the tunes once or twice. So take about, I don't know, an hour or 2 for rehearsal, and then we go in the studio, and then we can just, knock them out. And we usually, about 3 or 4 hours, we can knock all that out. So it's not too bad. And then I'm basically just grabbing bass and drums there, and guitar is direct as well as amplified, because if I like what I did and it's great, I can keep it and then just reamp it later. The bass is there if it's great. If not, I can always overdub it if there's too much bleed from the drums, or guitar stuff, even though the drums are isolated. It's not 100%. So, but I have the biggest hurdle, of course, was getting that first one done, that taking chances, and that now I have the template and the mix down, and I know, and everything was recorded in the same day, and we always use the same studio, so it was easy to, I can just pop it into the next session and off we go. um, let's see. If I can talk about any more guitar ideas. We didn't play anything. I didn't play a gig since the last stream. We played Galactic Theater, and that was great. That was a good show. Didn't have anything last night. I actually noticed the bass isn't in the back there. I had my rented my bass out to a touring jazz band from the Herbie Hancock Institute. They rented the bass, and that was cool. I got to see these. It was mostly kids of high school age playing jazz, playing trumpet, trombone, um, bass, guitar, the upright bass, and piano. Really, really good. I hope they keep it up. It gives me kind of hope for the future when I see something like that. Uh, and tomorrow we have a gig. We have a show tomorrow at a place called Richmond Smoke. It's down in Richmond, Rhode Island, which is about, I don't know, kind of in the southwestern area of Rhode Island. And then Monday we're playing at this place called Newport Vineyard, like a wine, beer brewery, and that's always a fun show. And then it kind of takes off, and that's why I said next week I will be changing the time of the stream, and we'll be doing it a little bit earlier. So I'll be doing it at 3 instead of 3 Eastern Standard Time here, instead of at 4. And looking at the schedule, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else coming up. Yeah, I'll make sure that I post for all of that so everybody will see it. Because there's going to be a smattering of days throughout the rest of the summer that I'm going to have to push it back. There's a couple in July where I'll probably have to change the time of it for everyone, but we're except for one Friday in July, I've got a gig every Friday and Saturday. So that's the time of year. Everybody wants to have outdoor shows, and people start booking bands. Clubs start booking bands. Endings. This is something that I don't know if it'd be any use to anybody, but it's something that I liked when I heard. I've heard Setzer do it. I've heard some jazz guys do it, and everything. Where, everybody knows this typically, right? You come to an end of a song, and you just do that. And so you'll toss something in before that, right? Whatever you want to do, right? Something like that. Something really simple, doesn't really matter. I always like this little riff here. You can do that in any key. I like finding riffs that I can move around. Obviously, that's great. And it just adds a nice little jazzy ending to something. Do something like that. Yeah, I always try to make the endings different, right? There was a song we did, one of our originals has a called "Calling on the Devil," and it has this kind of a fast swing. So funny how you can't remember these licks. I don't really play the song that often, but that's just a riff in between. But anyway, that's the tempo. So at the end, instead of just going, something like whatever, or just kind of, something like that, or just a basic riff, right? And you just kind of end the song. I would come up with something rhythmically interesting. So I came up with this, and I just kind of did the minor version of that, right? Right, the spooky version. And so I just kind of built backwards from that, kind of added a note each time. So I played the whole ending and I went. Like that. And it's just based around the blues scale. But I just go back a note. And that's kind of, instead of just trying to, do the same old, just try to make it a little bit different. Trying to think of some of the endings. Some of them I have, like another one song I did, 47 Cadillac. That one actually ends pretty typically. But I'd made that choice intentionally because I was kind of going for like a Bill Haley-esque kind of approach to that song. And I'm trying to think of what are the other tunes that we did. That have a different styles of endings to them. But if you run into trouble with something like that, I would just look at the, try to mess around, forget about the notes so much as the rhythm, and then kind of just think of it something cool that you can change it up. And I know it kind of seems like, oh yeah, there's this song that's playing and it's not pretty standard progression, pretty straight ahead, and then it has this really complicated ending. Complicated beginnings, complicated endings. I notice a lot of stuff like that, especially in the rockabilly type thing. But it does change it up a little bit, and adding a little middle part. That, like what we do in Taking Chances. We have doesn't have any real meaning to it. It's not really part of the not part of a verse structure. It's not part of a chorus structure. It's not anything. It's just a musical little interlude on staying on an E chord that kind of just gives it a build up going back into the last verse. And originally, when we kind of came up with the tune, that was the just jamming out with the guys. We were just kind of just pick a rhythm and go, and we ended up settling on this. And I just started this, which is just descending line, and we just kind of jammed on that for a little bit. And I thought, oh well, that might work for a song. And so originally that was the riff for the opening track, and then I did this. Came up with a different riff. I thought, it's got to be something different, but we still like that part. So we thought, okay, just put it in the middle. Put it in the middle somewhere. And we all worked together to, decide what works, what doesn't work. If the guys like something, if they don't like something, they let me know, and then we don't have to do it. And if they like it, we can try to change the structure around. And we always kind of add and work together. So I don't let ego get in the way of any of that stuff, because I want a good song. And if somebody else thinks that, oh, that could use some work, I'm gonna listen to their advice, because I don't want the song to suffer just because for no reason, when you can contribute to it. Right. How long have we been going? An hour and 15. Wow, time flies. Maybe you guys could can you name this tune? I'm sure you can. Only an hour and 15. Yeah, it's not a long time. I think that one time we went for like 3 hours or whatever. What else can we talk about? Other soloing things. When you're doing a 1-4-5, you're playing. Might have mentioned this before. Did let me know. You go into the 4. The 4 isn't very long, right? You're only there for 4 bars. For the second 2 bars, you can always add, or even the last bar, you can transition back up to the A. You can play a diminished. In that last bar. Whatever. And just go back into that. And that'll kind of run you into the next chord, as opposed to just staying over there. You do that one time and then do it another time, right? But it's always good. That's another video I'm going to be making, is like mentioning it, different keys, different ideas for soloing. It's always good to have some riffs just in the back, just in your back, the back of your head, just so you can, just so you can pull them out randomly at a show when you're playing and you're thrown in an improvisational setting. Or even if you're playing with a band and you want to have the solo go around again, because that's something that is good to be able to do. If you're playing and people are dancing, which happens quite often with this kind of music, some of these songs are really short. They're 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. You want to be able to make sure you have the ability to just go around again and say, oh, keep the solo going, let's go around again. Or even if you finish the third verse and you're about ready to go into the ending, what do they call it, the three time repeat ending, the turnarounds, tag it, sorry. Before you even go into that, just say, go back around, and you'll go into another solo, and then you could go back to the verse again if you wanted to, if you're singing, or if the singer does that. And if you're not singing, and you're not leading the direction of the tune, usually the singer is the one kind of controlling that. You want to make sure you have these. It's good to have this, like you say, plug and play stuff. Bits you can toss in, exactly. So you have this thing, and I know that I know it's going to work. I know it's going to sound cool. It's reliable. So I can have something like it's just, the simple stuff, like, and people love that, right? Or all three fingers, whatever. And going to the 4, I always can toss something in. Going to the 5, I can do one of these runs. And you just have these little riffs in the back pocket, like this one here. That's over this one's over the 4. This one's over the 1. And yeah, there's a couple of Danny Gatton riffs, like this is a fun one. And that's just a D shape, like move it up to the E, right? You're just playing the top 2 strings, and you're just pulling off. Pull off, pick, And then you move up to the G and the A. Right. That sounds cool. Another thing is you've heard this Danny Gatton riff too, where he does the F sharp, the two strings, double stop, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. Another one. Just when you're waiting to go to the 4, right? Open. Or I think you can do it up here too. That one's harder to do, but this one too. That's a fun one. Doesn't always, that one has to be more of a specific tempo, but it can work. And there are certain ones in certain keys that work better than others. I think I talked about this one before. That's a standard. Oh, it's I got to go back and watch those videos again. So it's been a while. Yeah, this one's a standard one for me, doing the bebop run. Doing this is a major scale. Right. So you do this. You can adds a little bit, or you can do just when you're at the turnaround there, going right back to the 4, going right back to the 1 rather. Sorry. Yeah. There's always good things to have, and then you have your swing stuff, and then you have your straight rock stuff, and then you have your 2-beat stuff, the rumba stuff, rumba tricks. Whether it's fast or slow. There's this one I hear. I'm sure you've heard this before. Just a rake down. Right, and it's basically kind of straight rock riffs that you're playing. Another one is that one you should play quite a bit. You can play that over the straight rock stuff. That's a fun one. Trying to think of what's the other. Whatever you want to do. It's always good to have those things in the back pocket and know what's going to work on different keys. If it's going to work, is it going to work in every key, or is it only going to work in that key? So anything that's pulling off to an open string, you got to be careful because you don't know if that's going to, I mean, you know it's not going to work if you're playing in B. You're not going to want to pull off something on to a G, right? If you're in E, though, it can work because it's kind of over a minor. So you just have to make sure that the notes that you're hitting, are within the key of E, basically. Whatever. And or just do it on the open E string. You're going to do something like that if you're in a key, whatever key you're in. If you're in E, G, D, A, whatever, you can play that on the 1, and you just hit, you're just hitting the notes within the blues scale. You can do the major scale too, but, like, if you're doing a major scale, it's going to sound like very, very happy. But if you play the blues thing. If you're in E, that's always a nice little trick. You can do that. You can do that in any key, but nice. It's if you practice it like this. Right, you can move this around. But if you're going to play an E down here, it's a little bit different technique because you're playing a bunch of open strings. So you want to, and you can also go to the 4 like that too. If you go to the 1. Right into the 4. And, you know, typically when you're playing a gig, you're not familiar with, you're just thrown to the wolves, sort of, so to speak. Um, you don't really, probably know this, but you don't really want to play leads when someone's singing. I mean, there are examples of it. There's plenty of examples of it. And if it's rehearsed and you know it's going to happen, maybe the song requires it or whatever, then that's fine. Then you can do it in that specific instance. But as a general rule, um, for example, guitar is a rhythm instrument too. So primarily is, I guess, well, it's half and half these days. Um, but yeah, if you're a violin player or you're a part player or horn or whatever, you typically don't want to be playing, playing while they're playing, unless you're just playing a chord or a just one single string. Usually, it's root notes or triads and stuff, things like that. So, because it will distract the singer, so a lick like that could be a transition from, okay, the vocals bang, whatever, and then there's a pause, and we're going to the 4, and then right before the vocals come in, it fits right in there. Back to the 1. You can also do that. You can play up here. I know that sound, right? That's that E, playing E minor. Do it on G too. Kind of that horn sound, right? Right. So you can kind of bend that G up a little bit. C sharp. And you can kind of do that in any key. You just can't play open strings. You're playing down here with an E. So if you're in G, you can do it there. However you want to do it. Those are just little things that I've always had in my in the back pocket. If I'm playing and I know if I'm going to play in G, then I know I have, and it's a 2-beat. I know I can do something like that. That little trick I showed last week. Yeah, the finger picking thing sounds great when we're doing that. Oh, you can bet. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's a nice little country bend. Let's see, was there another one? Oh, here's one. If you're playing, doesn't matter what key, I'll use E since I'm still there. If you think about it in this shape, right, here's the E, and then here's the octave. So you have this going, right? You can do this like the relative minor, right? Or C sharp. So you can do this kind of riff. This is all for 2-beat kind of, you know, 2-beat country stuff. You could slow it down and swing it, I guess. That's a cool lick for an ending or a transition out from a solo. Kind of a western swing kind of thing. What's that? Reminds me of that Bob Wills stuff. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the. Here's one. This one I don't to play it really fast. This is the chicken picking technique. It's something that everybody can kind of work on. I still kind of work on it myself. It's just a G major scale, but it's pick, pick, finger, pick, pick, finger. So it's the G, F sharp, E. But instead of playing the E, instead of just playing down, what you do is you go G, F sharp, open E. And then you go D, C, open B. A. If you want to continue, right? But even just that, for just the one octave. You just kind of start out slow and just keep practicing it. So it's the middle finger there you're just using. Round and round and round. Riffs like that where you just kind of need to build up the speed and put them into muscle memory. I just sit and watch TV. Play the lick over and over, unplugged, play it on a telly so it's not loud. And same with this too. If you're in G, kind of like that ending to Two Hip Gotta Go, where you could just, you're kind of doing this chicken picking thing where you're going B flat, G, and then B flat, G, E, F, G, and then open E. But you're picking that G to open E. It's without it. I had it in tablature; it'd be easier to explain. But so it's pick, like that. That's kind of the pattern of it. But it's all pull-off. You can keep going with it. But... Right? And it's easy, really. It's very comfortable to play, and it sounds cool. And that's that's one way to do it. You can also do something a little more in the major scale side of it. It's a seventh. They're throwing the flat seventh in there. Something like that. If you want to do something in a different, that stuff really only works in G. So if you wanted to play something in a different key, you could play something like this. That one works. You can do that in any key. That's very, major sounding, but you could throw in the flat seventh, I guess. It's a little bit more of a stretch. Oops. Yeah, it doesn't really work so much with the flat seventh. But it's a nice little country ending. Oh yeah, when you, however you want to end that. Those pedal steel bends are handy. So you're always thinking about, if I'm in A, here, and you want to think about you're on your whole fret section down, the way pattern-wise. So if you're whatever one key you're in, you find that one. So here, okay, well the 5 of that is here, an A, and I bend up and do this bend. That's going to be D, and you get the 1 and the 3rd. Bending that 3rd up in a chord is what gives you the country sound, right? Or however that's A. That's all A. Right? And you can throw all that stuff into the Rockabillys. That's why I like playing it, because it doesn't really matter. You're not stuck in a box. And you can just go from jazz to country to rock to whatever. You can, if you want to. Hard without distortion, but I've never been the greatest with finger tapping type stuff, but doesn't really have much of a call for it. Again, without distortion and playing quiet, it's kind of tough to do that. You can get, some things here and there. When I do that on there, that Martha My Dear thing, I have to walk up the bass line, stuff like that, just so the other chords still. What, I don't even remember the run now. But yeah, just so that chord stays ringing and you tap the notes up. Another thing that can help if you get the finger picking with the thumb pick is just learning that Cannonball Rag riff can be helpful just for dexterity. And it's just the 2. It's not even the full, 3 fingers. It's just these 3. Just the 2 and the thumb. Right. And then this one. That helps. Just if you don't have a lot of time, then you can just learn that, practice it slow, practice it fast, whatever, and play that over and over again, and it'll just keep the dexterity up, right? So those are kind of my go-to riffs, and if I don't have a lot of time to play and I just want to keep my fingers limber, I'll do that. I'll always do those do that kind of thing. Let's see, what else can I show you guys here? I always do these little runs from Tico Tico just to keep, the picking. And just playing major scales. And playing the other versions of it. I think I showed this on one of the first streams I did was it's kind of back and forth kind of back down. That's usually what I do when I first pull the guitar out of the case at a gig and just run that a couple times just to loosen things up. Not as much as I would like. How many hours a day I practice? If I get into it, I mean, I could go for hours, 4, 5, 6, but typically not all that much. I don't practice every single day. Well, usually in between video, when I'm editing video, waiting for something to render or writing the tab or something, and I need a little bit of a break, I'll pull the guitar down and just kind of go through solos that I know, go through licks and riffs that I know, just to kind of keep up the calluses and keep up the dexterity, like I said. And if I know that if I find myself, oh, I really need to kind of smooth that out a little bit, I'm struggling with it, I will, like I said, just sit down in front of the TV and just mindlessly play that lick over and over and over again, just slowly until and then suddenly build it up. And then you may never build up the speed, even the first couple of days of doing it. And then all of a sudden you'll be able to. It's just getting the muscles used to it. And I know that if I don't play certain types of riffs like the Cannonball Rag and that sort of thing, if I don't do that on a regular basis, my hands will start to stiffen up when I try to play it really fast, and I'll start getting sloppy and missing notes, and I don't like that. So, and I know you have to do it in order to keep that up. So that can be a problem, especially if you don't have. I'm used to playing at least once, maybe twice a week, and so this year and lately with the last few years, I haven't been. I've only been playing maybe once every other week, and so too much time goes by and you get involved in other things or whatever, and you go back to it, and sometimes it's great and sometimes not so much. The one thing I would notice if I don't play is, of course, the callus issue, and that's something that you just have to keep playing to keep that up. Yeah, when I started, I played 8, 9 hours a day when I first got into it. But I was, teenager, so I had the time. What was I gonna say? I'm gonna say about practicing in general. Oh, learning solos. I would definitely recommend learning solos. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just take your favorite song. It doesn't matter what style it is, and learn the solos note for note as best you can. If you can find the tab, if you need it, great. Use it, read the music, whatever you want to do, and just learn them. And one of the first solos I had learned um, was the solo to "Whole Lot of Love" from Zeppelin, and just learn that note for note, and that will help you realize how the guitar is all put together. and what works, what doesn't, and it'll just keep your, dexterity up. And it'll help you with timing. It'll help you with improvisation and help you with coming up with your own solos later. When you eh, when you learn different riffs and licks, it's good to learn that, but also learn the solos as well. Between those two things, that will eventually morph into improvisation. But the other has to kind of come first, because if you just try to improvise on your own without any basis or foundation for what the guitar is capable of, um, and you're not used to that and not used to the mechanics of it and the way the guitar works, the way solos work, it's gonna sound stilted and something. It's not gonna sound quite right. So I would definitely recommend that, and it just helps you. You have this solo memorized in your back pocket. Not that you, unless you're playing that song, not that you're ever going to use that solo, but again, you can use it for practicing. So then you can just go through and just practice a solo that you know, um, and yeah, stick it out and just play those riffs over and over again. Oops, put it down. That's what it is. Something like that. It's been a long time. Yeah. I'll always go back and I'll play that like Cat on a Hudson Riff solo all the time. Right there. That's always the hardest part for me, at least. Just kind of practice that. I'll always find, like, I do these things all the time. If I don't practice for a little while, all of a sudden it's like, okay, I miss the top string. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you guys for sticking out and hanging around. Yeah, I try to help as much as I can and give as much advice as I can, and don't want to run out of things to say, but I'll probably repeat myself on further streams. But hopefully, different people watch, and that's the thing about live streams. I mean, you can go back and watch them; they're still listed. I don't delete anything. That was the other thing too. Yeah, I'm not going to delete. Probably won't be deleting any videos or replacing anything. They're just, if I have a mistake in there. There was a little bit of a mistake in that last video I did, but I'm just going to leave it. It's not a big deal. It's already at 1,000 views. I'm not going to change it. I made a note for people that so you can see what the problem was. Not a huge issue. So I'm just going to leave that, and then you can always have that back catalog of everything to watch if you want to reference it. Let's see what else I got here. What else can I come up with? I'm trying to think of some other some other things. Oh, well, I mean, coming up with solos for a song. Obviously, we've gone over things like you can play a lead, right? Whatever single notes. You can play. You can always just play chords, right? And then if you're playing a everything's based around a major triad. You're basically just doing that. When you go for the solo part, then you can throw in like the substitutions that we've talked about before. And that can be a solo in and of itself. And you have the chord melody thing. You can also do these thirds. Sixth, rather. And do those things. Everybody knows that move, right? But you can make a melody out of it, so you can play the melody instead of the just playing individual notes, especially if it's a country type song or kind of a slower, trying to think of how that solo went. But yeah, you can do something like let's see if I can remember it here. That was the song "Walking After Midnight" by Patsy Cline, right? Right. You can do something like that, play the melody. Or you can do since I played that. I used to play that song all the time. But yeah, you can do those that kind of thing and play the melody like that if you don't want it to sound too heavy with all the chords or too thin with just playing individual notes. Yeah, so that's kind of the triads. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, those are nice little tricks that you can do. I was in A. What's the other side? Yeah, if I do, or it's like kind of a steel guitar, like the song "Honky Tonkin'," like Hank Williams. That one's an E. So it just, and then of course you can always just use that as a trick as well when you're playing. You just know that pattern. Just kind of walking from the 1 to the 5. Chromatic all the way up to the minor 6 there. Same thing with oh, that's all right, Mama. That's not the triad. I was thinking of a different song. Oh yeah, was it Blue Days, Black Nights? That's what I'm trying to think of. Peace. Cool. All right, take care, Richard. Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, I'm probably gonna you know, talk about a couple other things here if there's anything else I got going on, and want to thank everybody again for hanging out as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps in the algorithm. Very, very close for monetization. So to the last, then the real work begins, right? That's what everybody says. So, but hopefully I'll be able to start posting soon, or posting more soon. Yeah, it was fun today going over some stuff. Again, if anybody else happens to see the stream or you're on now, if you have any questions, musical or otherwise, but preferably musical, I can either potentially make a video about it or answer it on the live stream. We also have the memberships, and there's Patreon as well. I will be doing some backing tracks that are not just rhythms. It will be like full songs. So then they will have that'll be one of the perks that's part of the membership. Have a great week, Richard. You too. Hopefully, see you next week. Next week will be quite a bit shorter. I'll have to cut it at an hour, but then we'll be regular scheduled for the next time. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know, and I can make a video, answer it here, and talk guitars, theory, guitar techniques. I'll try to have something quick and snappy for next week. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it for this week. I want to go ahead and get back. I'm almost done with that video, that delay comparison video. So I just got to make the thumbnail for it, and it's ready to go. So I want to get back to that. I want to get back to that and have that uploaded probably within the hour. So keep a lookout for that one. And it's just a fun little thing to go through, and you'll be surprised at how different they sound. I was shocked myself. I thought, there's not going to be much of a difference, but it changes the tone, the overall, not just the edge of it, but the overall tone of your of everything. And I kept the amp the same, so I show there what my amp settings are, and I kept that the whole way through. And then as the delay changes, it'll have a picture of which delay is playing, obviously, so you know what's going on. Cool. All right. Well, um, I will get started on that video here, and I hope to see you guys next week for the short stream. And after that, I might do an impromptu stream as soon as I see that the channel is once it's official. I'll make a post, I'll let everybody know, and we'll do like a quick little stream just to kind of celebrate, have a beer or something. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys again. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, everybody.